Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Ballin with Bash and Ted. My co-host Bash here at 49er Minded on Twitter and on YouTube. We come to you every Friday at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. Bash, how are you doing on this fine Friday? How hot is it out there where you're living?
It's always hot here. But just to give you an update on the weather, well, a little cooler today. It's 90 degrees, which is cool for me today. So still got my fan going in the background, and hey, I'm here, man. It's all that matters.
There you go. That is all that matters. Glad to have you. Glad to be here myself. Coming in here from the Mid-Peninsula, it's a little cooler. It's 76 degrees here today, but it was a little hotter earlier today. It got hot pretty early, but anyway. So Bash, obviously a lot going on in the news, and we'll get to all that. But we've got a lot of people here excited to be in the audience, so let's get to some of that here. We got Jay Mill in the house. He came a few minutes before we started. He says if he wants to show that he's professional, then yes. So I said, if you were Lance, would you play tonight? Was the title of my show. And he said, if he wants to show Lance wants to show he's professional, then yes, he'll get his butt out there and play. If he wants to show the world he's a crybaby, then he'll choose to pout. And we'll get back to that. We'll come back to that in a little bit. Let's just talk to some other folks that are here. Randy said, Jay Mill, you're a savage, bruh. He gives him the peace signs. Thanks, Randy. Glad to see you. These clowns talking, acting like Lance is the victim. Dude has made a ton of money to ride the bench. Wow.
He's just a Lance hater, dude. He's
not faking it. I know.
He's thinking with too much emotions to hate Lance.
And we'll get back to him here. Salty Cyclist says the original Treylusionals are Lynch and Kyle, the true busts. I'm not ready to go there yet either, but
they made some questionable moves, man.
My support is starting to wither. It depends on how we do this season. If we can win a Super Bowl this season, then I'm fine. But if we were too good to develop Lance, but not good enough to win a Super Bowl, what the hell are we talking about? What are you talking about? That's just ridiculous.
I mean, how many years are we going to go with making excuses for Kyle?
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be year 7 in that, so we'll see.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Solomon Thomas, yeah, that was a terrible pick, obviously. Could have had Mahomes, could have had Watson. As I was saying, CMC was number 9 in that draft too, so could have had CMC as well if you didn't want to go quarterback. Boy, and they act like he is going to say I'm playing or not. LOL, stomp your feet, refuse to play. That's really how valuable he is and why other teams should desire him. The thing is, J Mel, is that, Lance already showed that he was better than Darnold in camp. And Kyle just basically ignored it. And so it gets to this point of like, why risk injury to try and impress a coach who clearly isn't open to being impressed by you? He already made up his mind. He tried to trade Lance during the draft. These leaks have been coming out all offseason. Grant Cohn had an interesting tweet recently. He just said that you could tell the fix was in when CMC and Kittle took Darnold to the Warriors game. There's got a little bit of truth to that now. Maybe they were in on the inside.
I've kept my mouth shut on a lot of shit because I'll be honest. I found out like probably just 10,000 pounds worth of like solid shit that had the media known or had they told everybody, this would have just set the whole world on fire. But I kept my mouth shut about it for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. And the first time I heard it, it was just terrible news. But yeah, look, Darnold. Once they brought Darnold in, it didn't matter how well Trey Lance performed in practice, in preseason games, whatever. It was basically like, okay, we got Darnold. He's going to be our new backup, and we're going to see if we can take Trey Lance somewhat to another team, or maybe have him accept a third role or something like that. Nobody beat Darnold. Was never the guy who overcame and just grabbed the position, grabbed the bulls by the horns, and just said, "Hey, I'm playing way better than Lance." So if you want to believe that, go ahead, dude.
There you go. We got some people on the call out here. We got Kenny saying "Yo." We got Cinnamon Kiss saying hi, Ted and Bashar. Lo Jackson saying "What's good, Bashar." And then we got Shasho Ansel Shaw here. He has a great channel as well. Make sure you check him out. Symmetry 7, Big Sim in the house. Outstanding football mind. Great guy I've known for a long time through various DM groups and whatnot. Thanks for joining, Sim. Pleasure to have you here. Dre Redondo in the house. He has his channel too. He says, let Bash cook. He's ready for a Bash rant, folks.
I had a huge rant on Dion's channel, Niner Gate Podcast, the other night. If I do another, I'm kind of drained, so I don't know if I'm going to do another one, but they
well, I can fill in for you, Bash. Don't worry,
feel free to take the do the honors. Yeah.
Oh man, I am so livid right now. It's not even funny. Philly Bowl Entertainment, aka the Regal Eagle. What's up, fellas? What's up, Philly Bowl? Welcome. Cinemacus says, yes, I would. I think she means play tonight if she was Lance. Kenny says, pay Bosa. Yeah, we were talking backstage that Ian Rappaport came out today and said that he could see Bosa not playing. So clearly Bosa's agents went to Ian Rappaport. And now the Bosa negotiation has gone public. It had started out private, but now it's wide open and out there for everyone to see. It's going to be interesting to see how it progresses from here. We can talk about that now or later, Bash, but Anshul says 103 in Arizona. Holy smokes. Yikes.
Oh, it's been 110, 109 a few times up here in Roseville. So, yeah, the summer has not been forgiving.
Got James Durnall coming to us from the UK. Says, well, I hope they cook Kyle in the media tonight. Dude acted like a grade A, B, backing out of interviews and throwing Fred to the wolves. Yeah, that was definitely pretty weak sauce by Kyle, no doubt about it.
Flexing like a little batch, like an East 40 used to say.
Yeah,
like a little biatch.
No doubt about it. Randy Daytona says long leash for sure. Kyle, yeah, he does have a long leash. You hear a lot of people saying, "Oh, well, you don't want to go back to Tom Sula and Chip Kelly, do you?" Like, no, I want someone who's gonna get us a franchise quarterback because Kyle either won't or can't. He either doesn't want him or they don't want him. Either way, we're not getting a franchise quarterback with Kyle unless Purdy can develop. I will say it is possible Purdy could develop into a franchise QB. I just don't think it's likely. And I think when you have a limited arm, limited height, and limited top speed, and that limited throwing chart, I don't know if you've seen that one I posted a few times recently, where basically everything's on the left side is green, everything in the middle is yellow, everything on the right is red. I call them Zoolander Purd because, Zoolander couldn't turn left on the runway. Well, Brock can't throw anything but left on the field. So it's kind of the opposite of Zoolander. But anyway.
Hey, look, if Purdy never got hurt, if Purdy had a rocket of an arm, I would honestly be 100% okay if they just cut Trey Lance or just traded him or whatever. If Purdy was 100% like this ultimate quarterback that blew up before our eyes, but there's, like you said, he might not. That's if he's going to be this guy. So, I mean, the main reason why I have questions about Purdy, just the fact that he messed up his arm in the preseason, the playoff game, the NFC playoff game against the Eagles. So, I want the best backup available for him if things do not go right, if he gets hurt, if whatever, he plays bad or whatever. I don't. This whole thing about Darnold being number 2, go pull up his tracker and how many interceptions he's thrown, how many times he's turned over the ball in comparison to how many games he's
90 times
interception. And if it's like an interception where somebody misses a catch and it pops into somebody's hands, you can kind of understand those a little bit. But these are like really bad, ugly interceptions. And we know. Look, historically, Darnold has been a decent practice player. It's not like he's had a history of bad practices with other teams. So maybe Kyle saw certain game manager type of things, or certain things that were steady with Darnold in practice, which is fine. And Darnold played okay in the preseason games too. We saw that, I didn't think he blew the world away or anything like that. I mean, he had the one play that stood out to me with Darnold in the preseason was the throw to Ronnie Bell in the Raider game. So we remember that, but I mean, this notion of, oh, yeah, Sam Darnold totally beat out Trey Lance. He beat him out. Trey Lance sucked. Trey Lance is the bust. He's terrible. He's garbage. He sucks. Okay, let's be real here. If you're going to be fair, you got to be fair. You can't just say that Purdy's this badass and amazing guy and then say Lance is a terrible player and he's a bust and Sam Darnold's so much better than him. There has to be an equilibrium here because I'm sick of it.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Real quick, going to call out some folks that are here. We've got let's see, we got Kenny, we got Sim TCAF 31 in the house, Shardal Gupta in the house, Stevo Supremo in the house, Panama Queen in the house. I'm not going to go through all the tweets because I already flashed them. Bebop Jones in the house. Also, just want to say real quick, if you're watching on my channel, hop on over to Bash's channel, give him a like and subscribe at 49er Minded. It's in the description. I should have it in the banner too. I'll get that going here in a minute. Next time you're talking, I'll set that up. But if you're watching on a browser, open up 2 tabs. Let's get both shows going at once. Appreciate that. Or if you're on a phone, you can pop open on a tablet, watch on 2 devices at once. It really helps us to get all those watch hours and likes and subscribes. So thanks in advance for everybody trying to do that. Kenny also in the house. He says, bro, Kyle drafted RG3 and Kirk Cousins the same draft. In my opinion, RG3 hurt to get his guy in. Just saying, we knew he was before he even got here. I mean, there's some parallels to that for sure. I mean, I definitely say that Kyle ran Trey Lance into the ground. There's no doubt about that. Too many runs up the middle, too many designed runs, too many RPOs that ended up as runs up the middle half the time. There's some parallels. I mean, I posted something where I said RG3 arrow Cousins. I said Cap arrow Hoyer, and I said Lance arrow Darnold. And I didn't say anything else. And everybody's like, "Oh, you're saying he's a racist," and all this stuff. I'm like, no, I didn't say that. I basically was just pointing out a type that Kyle likes mid robots more than dynamic QBs. It has nothing to do with race. So, have fun with that. Laura Cat says, good afternoon, Ted and Bash. Excited for tonight's game. Hoping the starters have more reps tonight. Yeah, I hope so too. I hope we see Trey Lance with CMC, but come on, who are we kidding? That's another way that Kyle, sabotaged Lance was, no run plays for the first 3 series against the Raiders, and no CMC for Lance this offseason, except for maybe one series where when CMC was in and Purdy was out, but literally it was like one series. So anyway, go ahead, Bash. I'll let you run with some of this for a second here, and I'll start catching up on the chats in just a sec too. I'm just gonna update the banner.
My bad. I was caught up in reading a few things. I was trying to catch up with what people were saying in the chat. So just remind me what the last thing you said was, just so I could carry on.
Well, I was just saying that I would love to see Lance with CMC, but Lord knows we're not going to see that because Kyle's done everything he could to keep us from seeing Lance with CMC.
Because they know there'd be. I think what Kyle's doing, honestly, a lot of me thought. I thought about this a while back, and some of it makes sense. If he's just, I don't know if now I still don't know if he still thinks Purdy is 100% the guy, because this whole Kirk Cousins thing is another option, right? But let's just assume, for the sake of argument, for the sake of the story, that they are in love with Purdy, and I think what it is they don't want any distraction about Trey Lance. They saw for example, how excited the players were when he threw that touchdown, how the eruption from the fans when he was playing. He had the biggest response from the fans during that game. So we're talking about Trey here. So I'm pretty sure Kyle thinks that, if I just put Lance on the back burner and don't have him as number 2, there's not going to be any friction. There's not going to be any uproar from fans. If Brock had a bad game or so, who knows? I mean, it's just a lot of this was pre-planned. I mean, it's sad that we have a coach. I don't know if you touched on this already. A lot of people have, but it's just ridiculous. If you're gonna make the move you make and you're gonna stand by it, we all know Kyle has a lot of questionable moves, but that are unorthodox from time to time. But if you're gonna do such things, don't send Fred Warner out to the Wolves, Javon Hargrave. Don't make those guys appear for any press conference on that particular day. Just shut off everything for the media if that's the case then. And since you want to jump on KMBR on what possibly was a pre-recorded interview, because a lot of, the 49ers do have power over KMBR type interviews. They can delete things, they can take things out, or they can make sure that certain questions aren't asked. So, but tonight Kyle's going to face the media finally. and hopefully it's unfiltered. Hopefully, other guys other than Grant Cohn, not just Grant Cohn, because Grant Cohn seems like to be the only one with balls to ask the tough questions, ask the hard questions, and people scrutinize him for that. But go to the New York media, go watch their press conferences. So hopefully other guys grill him, and it's not just one person. And Shanahan deserves it. That's all. And he was a coward. He was a coward, or John Lynch was a coward, whoever. Both of them that were cowards for basically setting up a damn press conference and not being there.
Yeah, it was weak sauce. And James Bernal was saying that Kyle has lied. What's the repercussions? I mean, coaches have to lie some. They can't tell us everything. I understand that. It would be a competitive disadvantage, to be completely honest, all the time. But some of the lies they're telling now are really disturbing. And yeah, I don't know that we can trust them, just to do the right things anymore. It's starting to really add up and look really bad. I mean, ultimately this season will tell, but if they don't do really, really well this season, there's a lot of people coming. And right now, there's so many things going wrong. You got Lance going wrong, you got Bosa going wrong, and now Jake Moody injured for tonight. The 3rd round draft pick kicker that a lot of people didn't want to draft a kicker in the 3rd round. Some people wanted a right tackle. Bash, you anybody like that?
Oh yeah, me when I was on. Yeah, I was screaming for us to draft Jawan Jones on Niner Sickness podcast on the live draft day show. The days I was on there, so yeah, I mean we passed up on him 3 times. Jair Brown's going to be a very promising player for us. I'm assuming a lot of people see a lot of Hufanga in him, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch him. So I'm not going to shake my head at that pick, but I would have much rather have drafted a tackle over a kicker. The most successful kickers in the NFL are UDFAs, so. But, if that's a kicker they really want and they fell in love with him, I do kind of see that. I just wish we would still drafted a tackle somewhere in the 3rd round. We didn't do it. But who knows? Maybe Moody will pan out. I'm all about impact players rather than kickers. Guys who are physical and strong on the field and not guys who you rely on for extra points. And it seems like I thought Zane Gonzalez would have been a viable option for us. How we just kept him. We still have him, but how we just stuck with him, that is. But who knows? I mean, the 49ers do a lot of weird, unorthodox things, and we've noticed it for 6 or 7 years now, and that's almost basically something that we're stuck with. So it is what it is.
There you go. Sim with another one I've heard a lot of. How many franchise QBs exist? It's hard to find franchise QBs. It's hard to win Super Bowls. Yeah, it is. But, a few have fallen in our lap. We had the chance to get Mahomes or Deshaun Watson in 2017. And Kyle didn't scout either of them. All he scouted was CJ Beathard. I'm sorry, that's a fail. And Brady wanted to retire here after when he was leaving New England, after we lost the Super Bowl with Jimmy against the Chiefs. Kyle said no, or Brady said no. Regardless, we didn't get Brady when we knew he wanted to retire for the team he grew up rooting for. He grew up in San Mateo here on the peninsula, a little bit north of where I am. And, and Kyle said no, or he said no after the conversation. And then, you could even go as, we didn't get Stafford. The Rams go ahead and win a Super Bowl with him, with their super team. Now we're a super team without a super QB. And in this QB that we have, Kyle had him at QB3. Purdy was QB3 to start 2022. Imagine if Jimmy G never got injured last season. We would never know what we had in Purdy. Like this whole crowning people in the offseason and not having a competition, it's ridiculous. It's only good unless you figure like, oh, they're all going to get hurt, they're all going to play anyway. But I think that's ridiculous. I think you want to play your best QB week 1 and hope they stay healthy all season. I just, it doesn't make any sense to me. Doesn't make any sense. G-Rod's in the house. Sorry I didn't call you out sooner, G-Rod. And also Rick Diaz in the house. Who else? I think I've got everybody else. I think I might switch down to the bottom because I'm so far behind on the chat. This is why we need to get the super chats going because chats are going bananas. So let me work up from here. So we've got, you still think leftism works? Really? All right. So I guess really in your right wing, the only value you get in setting the channel is pure comedic value. These takes somewhere other than Twitter like to come to these conclusions is so asinine. Hey, well, thanks for watching. We appreciate you being here.
Nobody put a gun to your head to watch it, so
yeah, exactly. And if you think Kyle can do no wrong, then keep believing it. We got Edward Ascoli in the house. He says, look, well, I think no trade because season 49 problem with 3 QBs. So yeah, I mean, we need lots of QBs last year. We probably will again this year. None of our QBs, none of the 4 we have on the roster right now has played a full NFL season. So, injuries are a concern for all of our QBs.
I want to add this because
I still don't want to have to wait for our best QB to see the field for some other QB to get injured or flame out for our best QB to see the field. It just doesn't make any sense, because what if they just play okay and they never get injured and we just it doesn't go well. I just doesn't make any sense.
I want to say this because earlier in the chat, somebody said, I forgot who it was, but they said, "Oh, Case Keenum." Then they said something about Brock Purdy was the last pick in the draft, and all that success that he had, it wasn't supposed to happen. Nobody expected it. It wasn't supposed to happen, and we all get that. It caught us by surprise. But to sit there and crown him right off the bat, let's remember there's guys who played full 16-game seasons and had playoff runs and had their little Jeremy Lin moments, and it didn't necessarily pan out for the long run. Case Keenum wasn't supposed to happen. Nick Foles. I could go down the list of all these guys who were really nice for a brief moment of their career, but it doesn't mean that they were the guy that we were going to stick with for the next 5 or 10 years. So my thing is have the best guys available to be the backups. I mean, you have an up-and-coming guy like Trey Lance. If things were to go wrong with Brock Purdy, if things didn't pan out, whatever they may be, barring injury or whatever it could be, at least you have an insurance policy. Sam Darnold's not an insurance policy. We've seen how bad he is in real games that count, real games that matter. So, and this whole blind loyalty to Sam Darnold, that all of a sudden, just because he's going to be wearing a brand new suit and driving a brand new car, that everything's going to change for him. It's like sure, by default, he should step on the field in a 49er game and look a bit nicer because he's got Kittle, Debo, Ayuk, and all those, CMC and all those guys to throw to. But to say that he's our best option as far as a backup quarterback right now, I'm sorry, you missed me with that.
There you go. Too Tall had a good point here. He said they should do right by Lance and just cut him and pick where he wants to go so he can get the reps he needs, and rather than just bury him on the roster. It's a real bad look because a lot of people think he won the QB2 job. Yeah, a lot of the people who were at camp, like me, I was there at all 9 open practices at camp, and a lot of other content creators were there with me, and we all felt like Lance, beat Darnold in camp. A lot of us felt like he beat Purdy in camp. Quite frankly, Purdy had a lot of interceptions, pick sixes, drop picks, sacks, and literally barely any good deep balls. Like all his deep balls were either long or short. So I'm not saying we should cut Lance because I think for him it's the best thing, but selfishly, I mean, I don't want Lance to go end up on the Seahawks and turn into the next Russell Wilson and, dominate us for the next decade the way Russell did. That would be, the most embarrassing, worst possible scenario doomsday scenario I could possibly imagine. Got Edward Ascoli in the house. Same for reminded. Let's go, bro. Dream Journal says Moody is out. Pretty sure Zane won't take his job, though. That'll be interesting to see. When it first broke, I was thinking they might be trying to medical redshirt Moody so that we don't have to use a roster spot to keep him and don't have to expose him to the practice squad. But sounds like it's a pretty minor quad. What you call it?
Quad injury.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to add this about the whole Kyle and John.
Quad strain is the word I was looking for.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting with Moody now. I didn't know that he was hurt, so that's going to be very interesting. I doubt they just sit there and release him if Zane Gonzalez outplayed him. I do see a lot of potential in Moody. I obviously am not a big fan. I said it earlier. I'm not a fan of taking kickers that early, but I still see a lot of potential in Moody, and I doubt they let him go unless he was just extremely terrible just in real games or something like that. But what I was going to say was about this organization, especially there's people out there and they say, hey, we should never criticize Kyle, should never criticize John, because you went on that rant earlier about the success they've had, and they've done a lot of nice, successful things, but they've done a lot of weird, questionable things. So this one's obviously going to stand out in everybody's head. I don't care if you disagree with my football takes or not. There's no way in hell you can agree with this, and you can also agree that it's like you're going to agree with this basically, because there's no way a GM and a coach sit there and if they have to make depleted Jed York, they probably did. Hey, we want to invest all these picks to move up to the 3rd pick overall in the draft. So, I mean, if you do that and you're asking for permission from the owner, you better have a player in mind, a player, not 5 players or 4 players or whatever it may be. So it's like they made that move and they still didn't know exactly who they wanted. Some say it was Mac Jones. Some say that they picked Trey Lance at the last second. Whatever it may be, they were indecisive, and everybody knows how indecisive they were. That was one of the hugest investments in league history to do to get a pick, and it's just ridiculous. Like, how can you trust these guys? I don't know, dude, to sit there and trade all those picks and I'm not sure which player I want. Could be this guy, could be that guy. I mean, one day you wake up and you like one guy better than the other. That is just shady. We should honestly, me knowing what I know now, and I know a lot because I've heard a lot behind the scenes, a lot of things that were told to me. I promised to shut my mouth on, and it's just really, and it's really pissing me off. I mean, how I know what I know now. Why didn't they just stick with Jimmy? I don't even like Jimmy that much, but hey, stick with Jimmy. At least we keep our picks. We could have got Micah Parsons, could have got a few other nice key impact players. Yeah, we could have got some nice key impact players. You're telling me we couldn't have beat the Rams if we had Micah Parsons on our opposite of Bosa, in a NFC Championship game? Like, it's ridiculous. We could at least have strengthened our
Jamar
team.
Chase,
It's
Devonta
a joke,
Smith.
I wish we just did that. We should have just did that.
Yeah, no, I mean, if we're going to do this, if we're not going to develop him, then yeah, it's crazy to pick him. Colin John need a real boss. If the season goes bad, there will be leaks and finger pointing. Yeah, there's nobody to tell Kyle no. That's the problem. There's nobody to tell Kyle no. And people keep lumping Lynch in there, but like Kyle has final say on all personnel decisions, especially quarterback and wide receiver. So, and you still think Lesson Work said something about, go off practice, not games. Well, if you want to go off games for Darnold, dude, he's a train wreck in games. So I don't know what your point is there. You're missing the point. Here's some more hate, I'm sure. Yeah, Lance really sucks. Lance is TBD, bro. We don't know what Lance is, and we're probably not going to find out.
How do we win the Bronco game? He really sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. See here. We got David Crone in the house. What's up, David? Welcome. Good to see you. Anyway, yeah, I'm done with this guy. He's a Lance hater. We got G-Rod. People are saying send him back to Minnesota. Hometown, at least the Snickers. Yeah, I mean, Minnesota's one. The Dolphins is another. But the Dolphins, they think they've got Tua, but I just don't think he's going to last long. Whereas the Vikings know that Kirk Cousins is gone at the end of the year, so they're probably a little more motivated.
James Durnall has a funny comment.
How far? I also want to call it Fazil Urshad in the house.
Okay. What up, Fazil? What up,
how far down was James? Should I just go to the bottom again?
Screen. It's on the screen.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah.
I hope inmate York takes some questions tonight.
I'll tell you this.
He's not an inmate. It's just it's insider trading allegations. It's not even formal charges. But yeah.
Oh, they're not formal charges? Okay. I was assuming they were.
No, but it's not a good look, whatever it is.
When I heard insider trading, it reminded me of that one. Who was that one chick that did Martha Stewart? I was thinking it was on those levels.
Oh yeah.
So then I was thinking, okay,
some time, hard time.
I thought maybe he might be, possibly going to jail or something like that. But it reminded me, I was like, okay, well, that's the case. Maybe the 49ers might have to sell their team. And if the 49ers were ever in a position to sell, there's one ownership group who I would love to jump on top of that all day and all night. And that's Peter Lakeup and Goober.
Joe Lakeup.
Joe Lakeup and Peter Goober. Yeah, man. Those guys are awesome, dude. And I'd love for them to own the Niners, but that's just a side note.
Sim says he's wearing his mink coat in the summer. Damn. He's cool. That's cool for sure. Yeah. David Corona saying hi. Let's see here. Let's see if we can get done here. I only want uncensored bash and tag. Don't give me medicine with a lollipop. You will only get uncensored me. That's all I know is to be me. And same with Bash. That's why we get along. We're not here to please anybody. We're not here to toe the company line. If we disagree with something, I'm a see something, say something kind of person. And people are like, oh, people are going to say you're a complainer. I'm like, I don't care what they say. I'm not going to sit by and let things go down and not share an opinion on it. It's
the
ridiculous.
Mistakes that this organization has made. If you don't complain, are you a diehard fan?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's exactly it. I think you're obligated to complain when things go poorly. So that's just me. David says, "What's cracking? Not much. We're glad you're here. Better now that you're here for sure." Laura Cat saying that
she always mocks my quotes. I don't know. Oh my gosh! Yeah, I'm not even gonna get started.
See here. So yeah, they're talking about that left or right wing guy, the Lance hater. The guy's nuts. But
I never understood how you could hate a player so much who's on your team. I can understand now. I do get this. If that player has stunk it up for a long time, and the team never lets that player go, I'm sure you're gonna be like, oh, I hate this guy. I can't stand him. Get him off the team. I do get that part, I mean, what seasons did Lance play in? 4 games. I mean, they haven't even been stacked games. So if you want to count the Seattle game, he barely even played that game.
No doubt. Yeah, that's crazy. Dominate 49er says the smartest fans knew Jimmy G was a keeper from the very beginning, and those picks were supposed to be used to build around JG. Well, here we go. The Jimmy G fans in the house. I am still happy he's gone, but it's hard to argue that we wouldn't have maybe done better in the NFC Championship against the Rams if we had another weapon or another defender or a better, Penei Sewell as a right tackle. Any of those things. Jess from East Coast Red and Golden House. What's up, Jess? Or make sure you check her out. Wednesdays at 5 Pacific, 8 Eastern. They have great guests. Bryant Culp was on, Tony Culp. And I keep forgetting the third person who was on with them this week. But great guests always on East Coast Red and Gold. Trey can still get in games. I mean, maybe if Kyle does packages, but you would have to be the second QB, not the third. The emergency QB can't get in unless the other two are cannot play, and if they can, they have to come back in.
Symmetry said, "All you guys know each other in the chat. I feel like a tourist out here." I know you, man. You know me. That's all that matters.
Sim, you gotta come by more often. That's all. But yeah, we definitely have loyal, regular folks that come out very often on the show, and they get to know each other, and that's part of the fun and part of what makes these shows so great as our audience. I always say I'm sort of like the Jimmy G of YouTube live streaming, and Bash is sort of like my, I can't even say Kyle now anymore though because I'm so mad at him. But Bash is the number 1 D, and the audience is the best weapons in the NFL. And they're carrying me the way we used to carry Jimmy luggage. So thank you everybody for contributing. I thought you were
going to say I was Steve Mariucci or something like that instead of Kyle.
Hey, I like Coach Mike.
I was when I was the day I met you when I was at camp. Thanks again, Laura, for that hookup and all that. We appreciate you. Yeah, but it was fun just because we were in the VIP area and I could see, there were points and times where I was standing right by the players or near the players. And I remember seeing the NFL Network crew in the background doing their thing. I know in hell I was going to walk by them because nobody was. It was far off in the back. But there was a dude with his back turned the whole time and with hella gray hair. And he kind of looked like Ted Danson to me or something like that. But I just saw the back of his head the whole time. And I was just wondering, who is that? I don't recognize that guy at all. And lo and behold, I was watching some clips at NFL Network the following day at Niner Camp. And it was Steve Mariucci. And I was like, dude, that sucks because that would have been a nice opportunity to try to meet Steve Mariucci because later I saw the NFL Network crew walking around and doing their thing or whatever. So it'd been cool to had to bump into Steve Mariucci. He's probably as far as the 49er coaches go, not necessarily in terms of success. He was successful. He didn't have a Super Bowl. We know that. We get that. But in terms of personality, I just feel like had I met Mariucci or had I played for him, that him and I would have definitely connected. I just think Steve Mariucci just has an awesome personality as a head coach. Take note, Kyle. But yeah.
They had the Vornado in the house.
What up, John?
Vornoose. Yeah, your buddies were here. Dan the Man. Wait, is Dan the Man? That's Gina's. Nick is one of his buddies from the Browns fan. Bash seems like he froze.
Well, I'm here.
Oh, you're there.
My bad. So John V's from the Locker Room Rant YouTube channel, and one of his best friends is a Browns fan, and the other guy that's on there who's Tony. He's a Buffalo Bills
Nick
fan.
And Tony. That was it.
Yeah, Nick and Tony. Yeah, Tony's on my chat. If he's still watching, if you see TCAF 31, that's Tony. So shout out to those guys.
So that was already he was already here. He was
the
one who said you were his wife's baby daddy, and he was fine with it. I love that one. I was like, no way.
People probably
that was a great one. I can't believe I didn't go back to that already.
Yeah,
that was one of the best I've ever seen.
I was trying not to mention that, but it's good.
Bash, he's prolific.
Let me see.
Throwing bombs out there.
David Yang's in my chat too. Good to see him here. Really good.
Yeah,
it's good to see all the supporters, Bebop and all those other people out there. We see you.
Yeah, there was something, Randy. I want to get to Randy's. He said I can argue with someone and still love them after. I'm the same way, Randy. You know, as long as there's no low blows, you know, people don't go personal or, you know, even sometimes when they do, I'm just like, oh, that just means I won the argument when they try, because like you can't. That's when you can't attack the message, so you attack the messenger. Like they call me old or fat or, you know, whatever, you know, there's lots of different ways people try to defame me. I'm like, I don't care. It's all true. You know, like, am I supposed to like cry because I'm old? You know, no, not really. So what are you going to do? Let's see, there's some other stuff. James and all was saying, what are we expecting tonight?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, I guess Lance plays. I guess I don't know. Maybe he only plays the fourth quarter. Who knows, dude?
I mean, I'm expecting to like hopefully watch the game like before I go to sleep tonight, but it's my wife's birthday today. And so like I'm gonna be like out to dinner and then watching the Barbie movie during the kickoff. So
you're gonna watch the Barbie. You know what? I heard that's actually a good movie. Some people were talking about it and saying it's actually got a good little story to it. So cool. That's cool.
Oh, not good when you're missing a Niner game, but
that's crazy.
At least I know
you can watch it on your phone while you're in the theater. So,
but you know, wife's birthday. What are you gonna? I mean, I'm just glad she let me do the show today. Luckily, it's a regular show. Some other people reached out to me to stream today, and I was just like, can't do it today, not on my wife's birthday. But she knows Bash, and you know, she'd probably let you father a baby with us too. Just like,
no, please don't say that. Please, I was gonna say, happy birthday to your wife. So that's cool.
Thank you.
These are bad jokes.
And I wouldn't mind either, Tony. I'm in your boat. Who would mind? I mean, come on, it's Bash here, man. And you know, and then the baby would have some killer rants, just like his daddy. So. Sean Johnson came back for the header question. Is that a serious question? Of course he plays. He's a professional. Thanks for joining, Sean.
I'm laughing because of the Sean John name because I saw his name on the chat for Real Talk Niner Talk, and the hosts were just yelling at him, and he was getting mad, and it was just a funny back and forth. So I never seen this guy's screen name before, so I just think it's hilarious.
There you go. John Vornis is giving us a happy birthday. Got VT 2022 in the house, says football before wife. You know, they say happy wife, happy life. And she's been very supportive in this venture. So I have to, you know, honor her. And you know, yeah, I mean, she's even let me do some evenings and weekends, even though that's when I'm supposed to be on daddy duty. So when it's a special occasion, I absolutely have to do everything I can to make it special for her. Danny O says trade Lance the Vikings for Fran Tarkenton. Screw it. There you go. Bring Fran. Is Fran even still alive? He's getting pretty up there. But he was a good mobile quarterback way back in the day. Just never got it done. He was kind of like Marino before Marino, as far as, well, I mean, Marino's one of a kind, but as far as a really good quarterback who didn't win oh no, Sam Malibu Ted. Jeez. I'm pretty far from that. I'm pretty far from Malibu Ken. I look like I ate Malibu Ken. Steve says everyone lights Ted's Twitter up. Keep him posted. Everyone light. Oh, okay, there you go. Everybody does already. Steve, you don't have to tell them, man. I'm like a lightning rod for Lance haters, man. They are coming for me fast and furious. Old and fat. If anyone called me that, I'd take that. I wouldn't take it as an insult. Nah, I'd just say you probably wouldn't say it to my face, but have fun from behind a keyboard. I have a Browns fan, but it ran out of battery. That's a good one, Sam. I like that. Steve says, I want 32-12 win tonight. That's really specific. All right.
You know what I want is no injuries.
That's no injuries. I want Lance to ball out. But even then, I really don't want Lance to get injured. If Lance gets injured playing in a game that we all now know means nothing, there's nothing he can do to change Kyle's mind. I mean, and it's like, then I get this idea in my mind of like, oh, well, if someone else got injured, then maybe Lance could be QB2, but I don't ever root for injuries, so I'm not even going to entertain that. So no. If I had a Browns friend, I wouldn't tell nobody. Now, you know what? I have super respect for Browns fans because guess what, man? Like, we complain about losing Super Bowls. After winning 5, we've lost 2. Like, Browns have never been to a Super Bowl, man. So I have utmost respect for fan bases like the Browns, the Lions, these fan bases that just have never won a thing, and they stay true, and they stay, they're like, that's my team. So I think they get bonus points for that, honestly. David Yang in the house saying, how can y'all say this front office is a failure when the team has been the NFC championship 3 times in the last 4 years? They built a squad, might have found a diamond in the rough and Purdy. Well, I mean, I don't think we said it's a failure. I just think,
they
I don't know.
Dropped the ball on big time things, and we could have won at least 2 Super Bowls because of those mistakes they've made. If you're not concerned about that, I'm sorry. I want to win Super Bowls. Don't you want to win Super Bowls? Don't you want to see have your kids win Super Bowls? Whoever out there has kids. I'm sick of this bullshit, dude.
Yeah, I just feel like it's pretty clear that Kyle doesn't really want a franchise QB, or the franchise QBs don't want Kyle. But we've had several opportunities to get one.
He wants a yes man.
He wants
Kyle. Yes, Kyle. Yes, Kyle.
A mid robot that does what they're told. And if we win a Super Bowl this season, then it won't be a failure. But if we don't, then I'm going to say, why the hell were we too good to develop Lance, who, clearly if he can reach his ceiling, could help us win more than one Super Bowl. And so that's my whole thing. I just think they're overvaluing what this team is, and they're overvaluing what Purdy is. And, I don't think we really have a right tackle, and I don't think we have any depth after any of our O-line positions if any of them get hurt. So, I don't know. We'll see.
On my chat, there's somebody important that I want you to pull up. He's the most recent comment on my chat.
Okay.
I have to give him a shout out. Big Fizzle 75, one of the OG 49er YouTubers. He's been on YouTube since I believe 2009. I was on YouTube back then. I did 1 season, but he stuck it out and kept his channel for a long, long time. He says, I want number 6. Salute to you, man. Great to see you. Bumped into you at a few games, and it's always good to see you on here, man.
There you go. I'll just keep working up from the bottom. I can't catch up to this chat, but Vornitz, F the Browns. Wow.
He lives in Cleveland, so.
Yeah, okay, no wonder.
I mean,
so his buddy already knows.
He was in Ohio, not Cleveland, sorry.
Yeah. Almost as good as Toronto Argonauts fans. Huh. Oh, okay, they're talking about Browns fans. Browns are the GOAT fans. Yeah, I think they are the GOAT fans. No doubt about it. Let's see here. We got Skull State of Mind. What up, Bang Bang Niner Game? What's up, Skull? Thanks for joining. Looks like they're interested to hear what might happen with Trey Lance. For people who don't know, Trey grew up in Minnesota, and he wanted to go to University of Minnesota. And they said, sure, come play linebacker or strong safety or whatever. He was like, no. And so the only team that would let him play quarterback was North Dakota State Bison. And that's how that worked out. Sean John said, those guys were the mad ones. They couldn't handle the positive talk of Shanahan. I was having fun.
Yeah, my bad. My bad for saying that you were mad because you weren't really mad, Sean John. So I do take that part back.
Steve says, did you have a baby yet, Ted? I forgot. I didn't have a baby. My wife is about to. We're coming into the home stretch somewhere mid-September is the due date. And so, knock on wood, hoping for a safe arrival of my second son. My other son's about 3.5. So, and then Rainey says, ha, love the nanny.
Can you pull up Niner Cali Boys on my chat?
Mm-hmm. See here. There we go.
There you go. Yeah, I got to meet this guy last year at one of the Niner fan meet and greets before the home opener. He said, really good dude. Says, you guys buying the Mr. 90 turnovers has a higher floor than Trey. We talked about
Not
that.
with your money. Not even with your money.
Maybe with Monopoly money. I don't know.
Not even them. No. Darnold was dink and dunk in camp. He did nothing special. Trey looked better. Trey was either first or second every day. Trey was first more days than anyone else. Darnold was first the next number of firsts, but Darnold was also worst 2 of the days. So you can do the math, but that was worst out of all 4. So Trey was noticeably better than Darnold in camp. And in the games, obviously Darnold looked better against the Raiders, but Kyle sabotaged Trey against the Raiders. He had 3 straight drives with no runs. He called run fakes. You can't fake the run until you run the ball, Kyle. We are a run-first team. And if you don't run, then the defenders pin their ears back, and they come straight for the quarterback. There's nothing to slow them down on the way to the QB. Certainly not our second string O-line, which was freaking Swiss cheese. And
that didn't even look like a second string O-line. That looked like a fifth string O-line, man. They might as well put
5 matadors and Olay.
Considering how bad they're playing, they should have just put Alfredo Gutierrez out there at that point in time. And when you said do the math, I wanted to say this line right away, but I didn't want to cut you off, so I waited.
Do it.
I was like, get it calculated, do the math. So some of you guys, people in the chat, might know that reference. So I don't think Ted gets it though.
Yeah, of course not. I don't.
It's from Too Short. It's called a song called "Blow the Whistle."
Yeah, if it's not like "Blow the Whistle," I don't know it.
I'm sure you've heard it at one of the Niner games. I'm sure you heard it.
I'm sure I have, and had no clue what it was. Yeah, so like
down the hill.
So then they run the ball twice on the 4th drive. What do you know? Lance gets into rhythm, and we score a TD. And so for Darnold had 9 runs and 8 passes. Lance had 20 passes and 8 runs. So Darnold had more runs than passes. Like Lance had 2.5 times as many passes as runs, and it probably still would have been fine, the 20-8, if they just sprinkled some in those first 3 drives. Maybe one here or there. It probably would have been enough. But you go 3 drives with no runs, Kyle? Sabotage. And if anyone wants to say it's not sabotage, then I just say it's ineptitude. So take your damn pick. Take your pick.
It's definitely ineptitude. I'd say that.
It is ineptitude or sabotage, whatever you want to call it. People are like, well, I just think it's a miscommunication or something like bull.
Okay, let me tell you this. When you saw Brock Purdy out there in the last game, and he did that little jump pass to Debo where the pass, basically Debo caught the pass to the line of scrimmage. And it was a perfectly drawn up play. If you see the way that Kyle got in his bag on that play and a few other plays for Brock Purdy, dude. I'm like, wow, Kyle's getting his bag in a damn preseason game. This is nice. So, Brock Purdy takes a snap. He does a little spin. He does a little jump pass the 5 yards at the line of scrimmage. And then Debo turns it upfield. It's like Kyle's running plays. He's calling plays to make Debo look like super fiery Mario from Mario Brothers, like doing his little jump thing, like he's throwing a fireball, like the way Mario does. It's like I never once saw him draw up any cute little fun little plays that let the receivers have a full head of steam upfield for Lance. I mean, he wasn't drawing those plays up. They were more. I mean, a 7-step drop. I thought we had gotten rid of the 7-step drop way back in the days when Mike Martz was his damn offensive coordinator. That in that season we stuck it up with Mike Nolan. Like, like, come on, man. Come on, Kyle.
There you go. And then Sean John said Kyle might fail at finding and develop a QB, but that's mind reading, speculating that he doesn't want a franchise QB. Well, he didn't want Mahomes. He didn't want Deshaun Watson. He didn't want Brady. He didn't do enough to get Stafford, and then he drafted one that could have turned into one and didn't develop him. I just don't think Kyle wants to share the spotlight with a franchise QB. I think that's it. It's his ego. And then he also doesn't want a QB that's going to improvise and not do exactly what they're freaking told. He wants a mid-robot, not a dynamic QB. And we've seen it again and again and again. So if you haven't seen it, Sean John, maybe you will in time. But I've seen enough.
He said no to Tom Brady. I mean, that's a classic example right there. And he mentioned other scenarios. So it's, the proof is in the pudding at the end of the day. If he gets his franchise guy in the future, or if we actually landed one in Brock Purdy and he's the guy for the next 10 years, then hey, he finally, turned over a new leaf. But we'll see.
Dink and Dunk content creator in the house. I'm going to have to charge for using my name. Get those royalties. Get a trademark, Dink and Dunk. I never called Purdy Dink and Dunk in the offseason. Ryan Hensley, obviously had that famous exchange with Larry Krueger about it. And at the time I said Dink and Dunk is a little bit harsh. But I will say that Purdy's arm is limited. And, obviously his height's limited, and so is his top speed running. But in the Broncos game, the series that Purdy played was dink and dunk. I'm sorry. It was like 2 screens to Debo, a 10-yard pass to Jennings, which was a nice pass. He passed up the shorter pass to Ayuk that wouldn't have been a first. He threw it to Jennings for the first, and he threw a real nice slant to Ayuk that got us down to the 2-yard line. But that drive was dink and dunk. And so, I'm still not saying that Purdy is, because I've seen him not be, but so far what we've seen in games, which is just one series, he was dink and dunk. So I'm going to agree with that.
Maybe we'll be the first dink and dunk team that wins the Super Bowl in the modern era.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, we have that type of team that we it's possible, that we could have, like a Foles or a Dilfer or a, Brad Johnson or a Jim McMahon who just gets carried like we almost carried Jimmy. But I don't know, man. We don't have a right tackle. We don't have a real deep defensive end to go across from Bosa. We don't have Bosa. We don't even have Bosa.
Come on, Bosa.
Come on.
And honestly, I thought the Bosa thing would have sorted itself out probably like right before the Raider game took place, or maybe the Monday after. But him lurking around this long is starting to be a major concern for this team. A lot of people weren't worried at first, and I had the mindset of, I still do kind of have this mindset where usually Bosa just balls out in the beginning of the season and the middle of the season, towards the end of the season, but then once it comes playoff times, you see him getting tired a bit, see him getting worn out a bit. So I was thinking, okay, well, maybe it's to our advantage that we bring Bosa on later, maybe, and have not have the training camp that he normally does, and then by playoff time he'll be more fresh and ready. But I don't know. I don't want him to miss week 1. Week 1 is not going to be an easy one. I'll tell you that much. And we need all the help we can get.
There you go. Tony was saying we can always make fun of the Browns football team, but never their fan base. That's fair. I like that. Kyle's bag was bigger than I ever seen last year. I mean, yeah, Purdy did things that we really haven't seen of any QB since Kyle's been here in San Francisco. But it was still just a little bit better than Jimmy G, though. That's when it comes down to it. That's what it was a phenomenal story for a rookie. But when you get good, they stop comparing you to rookies. They start comparing you to vets and established NFL QBs. And there I say Purdy's mid. I'd say Jimmy's below average. Purdy's a little better. He's mid. Better than being half of yourself, I suppose. I kind of missed that one. But Ted, those two words have vastly different meanings. Words matter. Sabotage and ineptitude are not the same thing. I know they're not the same thing. I'm saying Kyle either did it willfully or by blundering. He set Lance up to fail against the Raiders. So you could say that he did it on purpose, or he did it because he doesn't know better. But he did it. So take your pick. I didn't say they were the same word, so they're not. It's definitely
They said
not.
it was the same.
Moment of silence for the Browns fan. It's nice. So you read minds? No,
I read
just read.
49er minds.
No, I don't read minds. I just read the tea leaves. I see what's going on. It's two different words. But yes, it's two different words. Mike March using Vernon Davis like he's Lynn Swan. Okay. I miss VD. Never have too much VD in your life, I always say. Yeah, Kyle's ego doesn't want to win a Super Bowl while his dad is alive. I don't know about that. I think he wants to win one. I just don't think he's willing to do what it takes to win one.
Kyle, this is what Kyle is. He wants to win one, but is he going to take advice from somebody to do something different, to change his previous ways to possibly win one? That's the question.
Steve-O says saying no to Brady was the right decision.
We would have won the Super Bowl that year had we had him.
No, not 2020. Not in 2020. I mean, we were super injured, but I think in 2021, in 2022, I think at least one of those years we would have. Yeah, I'd say at least one Super Bowl, maybe two with Brady. Because, you'd probably get Gronk and you'd probably get Fournette. I would say AB, but we would never.
No, we wouldn't even need Gronk. I mean,
unless he was willing to play into our locker room.
Unless Gronk was willing to play a secondary role to Kittle. I mean, we wouldn't even really need him, but
and then
one of those years we could have won it.
If you're watching on Bash's channel, make sure you give me a like and subscribe on TED Talks Ball. Same thing if you're on TED Talks Ball, hit 49er Minded, like, subscribe. If you're on a browser, open up two browsers. Watch us both at the same time on both streams. And if you're on a phone, whip out that tablet, do two devices. We appreciate it. Thank you. Brady was in the worst.
Oh, sorry. The previous comment said something about being a Kyle fan. For those who don't know me in real life, because I probably, and I did it somewhat on my channel too. If you go back and watch my older videos, I've been on YouTube since 2021. Who's defended Kyle the most? Who's yelled and cussed and said, "Oh, it's not Kyle's fault" the most? This guy right here. I had so many people tell me, "Fuck Kyle, he made a mistake. Kyle fucked us over. We lost that fucking game because of fucking Kyle. Fuck Kyle. Get him the fuck out of here. Let's go fucking fire Kyle and hire fucking somebody else." That's been me. This guy right here who's defended Kyle for all that shit. But at the end of the day, there's a limit to everything. And it's like, how many times am I going to keep defending this guy if we fuck up in the playoffs again? That's the question.
Yeah, it's a great question. And I think things get, real heated if we start losing some with Kyle. Fernando from our store back in the house. What's up, Fernando? Thanks for joining. Good to see you. So John says, so you're okay with people judging Trey on a small sample size? Not okay with it, judging Trey on a small sample size, but you're judging Brock off a small sample size. Please make that make sense. How is this not hypocrisy? So
you're saying it's not the end of the 5 games is never going to detail somebody's entire career. That's what you want to say that yourself. You stick with it. You keep that one. That's a good one.
What we're saying is they're both to be determined. Lance is not a bust. And Brock Purdy is not the king because he went 8-0 and he didn't. He went 7-1. He lost to the Eagles. And people say, "Oh, well, he got injured." Yeah, he got injured, but what are you going to reward him for getting injured? I just don't see that. Bottom line is they're both to be determined. And I just don't think Purdy has a lot between what we saw and what his ceiling is, whereas Lance has a massive gap of where he could end up and what we've seen so far. And we started to see it in that Broncos game. And if you look on my timeline, you can see a clip I pulled from Eric Crocker where he said, basically, if Lance can play like he played against the Broncos and be a little more consistent, there's nobody in this locker room that can touch him. That includes Brock Purdy. He does things that Purdy just can't do. He makes throws that are, that club is not in Purdy's bag, to use a golf reference. So he the way he zips things and adjusts, he's just, he has the ability to be a superior QB, and he probably just needs the reps to do it, is what Croc said, and I agree completely. So I clipped it out, and it's on my page. You can look it up under Lance can touch, TED H6 Lance can touch, and it'll pop up. So check it out, and you'll see what I mean. So also we are starting to run out of time. We got Ryan from No Border Sports in the house.
What up,
What
Ryan?
up, everyone? What's up, Ryan? Thanks for joining. You can catch him with me on Tuesdays at 3:30 Pacific now. We're doing a weekly show. And Aaron also here. Aaron and I are Wednesdays at 3:30.
There he is.
For First and Ted. Ryan and I are No BS Ted. So yeah, we're it's like all the folks from the NWO except Beto. Where's Beto? It's really weird with Beto, you know? It's like he I don't know what's going on with him. He seems a little different lately, but you know, I don't know. I hope it's like his guy Purdy won, but he's trying to tell us all, or at least me, trying to tell me what to do on the timeline, and he should know better. Is all I can say. He should know better. See here. See. Okay, sorry. Tommy Huxley.
He's not here. He's not here. So we can't.
Tommy
I was gonna say we
Huxley.
couldn't say his name, but what you said it anyways.
Well, hopefully he'll make it soon. Pause. I don't want no VD in my life. He is bad.
We were talking about Vernon Davis, yeah.
Yeah, Vernon Davis. That's how far behind I am on the chats, huh?
You're
Just do a quick shout out for anyone else who's here that I haven't seen. We got Somi Merritt in the house. Chat. We got I guess that's it for new folks. The
guys who jumped on my chat, if you want to bring them up, Somi and Mr. What does it say his name? I believe his name's Eric, Mr. Level Up Digital Assets. I think his name's Eric.
Oh yeah, here we go. Bashar, what's up, bro? Hope all is well and the channel continues to grow.
Thank you. Man. He's got a very successful channel. He does these business type videos and investing type videos. He's got over 8,000 subscribers, so very smart guy.
Nice. Well, I do have a 4 p.m. call that I should get to. I can be a few minutes late, but in general.
And Somi's also in the chat. He just says, what's up?
Yes, I called out Somi. I just didn't click on his chat. But right here, Somi Maris. What's up? Yeah, everybody, if you were on my channel, make sure you get over to 49er Minded. Give them a like and subscribe. Same thing if you're on TED Talks Ball, or if you're on 49er Minded, come on over and give me a like and subscribe on TED Talks Ball. Really helps out. We're growing, doing great things. And I will see you 1 week from today at 3 p.m. Bash, anything you want to?
I mean, as far as today's game, I mean, no, it's the last preseason game. A lot of people think it means nothing, but as far as things you want to see, because we haven't seen this literally all preseason long. I remember when I was growing up watching the Niners in the 90s, especially at points in times in the 2000s. I remember we used to just like tear it up in the ground game in preseasons, and we'd have these no-name running backs from time to time who you wouldn't see during the season just pull off incredible, nice, exciting runs. And to me, that's a lot of fun to watch. And in general, for these players' developments, we know we have CMC, but I want to see JP Mason. Supposedly Jordan Mason right now has leaned out. He's a lot more explosive now. I want to see it in a game what it looks like. I want to see TDP break off some good runs. TDP has to improve his pass blocking as well. He whiffed on a really, really bad pass block when Purdy got sacked. So that'll be a nice little wrinkle to see. Probably some more pass rush would be nice. And no injuries. No injuries. Go Niners.
No injuries. Go Niners. Let's see if Bell the Bull can keep charging. Love to see what he did last week. And you mentioned no-name running backs like Awatt's gone and Laybourne's gone, so I guess it's this McNichols guy. Maybe might be our practice squad running back. We'll see. Be interesting to see how that all plays out. But thanks everybody who tuned in. Thank you, Bashar, as always. And I'll just say peace and go Niners.
Niners.